How do you feel about sharing your story today?
Nervous. Like, extremely nervous. I'm sweating for no reason.
Can you tell me about the first time you realized you were interested in women?
Throughout high school, when I look back at it, it was kind of obvious now from like a new perspective, where I would like used to get crushes on girls, like low key though. Like I thought it was just like I just really wanted to be their friend. The guy that I was dating at the time, I told him I was very nervous. I was like, hey, so I think I might like girls also. And he was totally cool with it. He was like, okay, so if you want to like bring another girl into the mix, I'm totally fine with that. And then as soon as he said that, in my head, I was like, I mean, just me.
And when did you start to feel like you needed to come out to your parents?
Pretty much right after I realized it, the thought process in my head was like, I'm not a very good liar, and this is gonna be a more consistent part of my life, and I can't hide it forever, so I might as well tell them now, and I wanna be honest. But that didn't go too well. From a cultural standpoint, I understand it, because that's the way that they were raised. They're having a tough time definitely understanding that, understanding the way that I think, the way that I feel, and understanding me. For them to have an opinion of like, that's not right and like that's not like God's way was very just like crushing. Like, or all of a sudden it just felt like the world was just crashing down on me, and all of a sudden I just felt lost and confused. And I tried for a little bit to not be interested in women and try to be interested in men again, and it just felt very insincere and wrong. But then what I did feel to them was wrong, so it was very conflicting and confusing. I was in university at the time, and I was studying electrical engineering, and the first 2 years I would get like straight A's. I was a tutor for younger students, and I was doing really well. And then the third year, with all the emotional baggage weighing down on me, I started to fail every single course. I think I might have passed 2. Everything just kind of started crashing down, and all of a sudden I just wasn't like the star child anymore. You know, I wasn't getting good grades, I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do, and I was, in their eyes, like sinning, essentially. And that was really hard to deal with, because I felt like I was alone and like I had nobody to go to. So coming out to them was difficult, and then dealing with arguments like every other day for 2 hours, just lots of crying and screaming and saying really, really mean things to each other, was really emotionally draining to go through. And at that point, I felt like the only option was to move out. So I moved into my friend's basement. I lived there for a few months, and I would have to go to school. Even though I was failing every class, I still kept going to like the first semester that I failed and the next semester that I also failed. Trying to go, and I didn't have any money, so I just like ran my credit card up with debt, and it was a really emotionally, financially tough time. I felt like there was like no escape. I felt always like I was cornered and I didn't have anywhere to go, and I didn't have anyone that loved me really. That support system that I always depended on growing up was just gone, unless I conformed to their ways. And to me, it just didn't seem like an option. I ended up being diagnosed not only with depression, but with bipolar disorder, and turned into a different person, essentially. It still weighs on me a little bit, less now than before. Things are better with my mental health, but it's kind of like you don't really get rid of it, you just fight it every day, and every day you become stronger, and so it seems easier. So I got medication, got a therapist, eventually transitioned off the medication, and I no longer use it. I decided to move from Kitchener to Toronto and pursue dance. I guess failing out of engineering school was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because before I was just doing what I was good at instead of what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. But after I failed, I was like, okay, I still don't really know where I'm going to go, but I know that I don't want to do that. So instead of going back to school for engineering, I decided I'm just going to pursue what I actually enjoy doing, and that has made all the difference.
Do you think your parents will ever have a change of heart?
I mean, I hope that's the goal. If I just continue to resent them for everything and continue to have a negative attitude towards it, I don't feel like anything will change. And it still might not change if I have a positive attitude towards it, but it's better than just being negative all the time. And I'm trying to kind of manifest what I believe in, which is hopefully having them have a change of heart, but they might not, and I kind of just have to continue living knowing that they might not, and not let that change how I want to have my future go.